Okay, so cybersecurity careers.
Sounds exciting.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does. We're talking about protecting everything.
Yeah.
Literally all the things, the systems we use every day, the data that we share, all of it.
Yeah, keeping it safe and secure.
Exactly. And
It's
it's
a hot topic.
a very hot topic. And I think for a lot of people, they think, ooh, cybersecurity careers.
Right?
Like you have to be some kind of coding genius.
Yeah, you need to be like in a hoodie in
Yeah.
a dark room.
Yeah, super techy.
Yeah,
But it's actually, I think, more open than people might think.
it really is.
So for anybody out there who's maybe curious about getting into this as a career,
Yeah.
you shared some stats that just blew my mind.
Yeah,
3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs globally.
I know. It's crazy.
That's wild. That's like a small country.
It is. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. So there is definitely a need,
Demand. Yeah.
huge demand. Yeah.
Big time.
So we are going to do a deep dive today on what that landscape looks like for those core roles.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let's jump in. What is that initial picture? If we were to paint it with words, what does that look like?
So I think of cybersecurity as like a spectrum
Okay.
where you have on one end the people who are building and maintaining the defenses.
Okay.
And on the other end, you have those who are investigating when those defenses are breached.
Good.
And then kind of in the middle, you have folks who are thinking like the attackers
Okay.
and trying to find those vulnerabilities before the bad guys do.
So like a three-pronged approach. Yeah. Okay. So who are the folks on that front line, the ones that are building those initial defenses?
So those would be your security analysts and your security engineers.
Okay.
They're the architects and the builders of the digital world,
Okay.
making sure that systems are secure from the get-go.
And when we say systems, we're talking everything.
Everything.
From like my home computer
Yeah.
to like massive corporate networks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anything that's connected to the internet
Okay.
is fair game.
Okay. So tell me about those security analysts. What do they actually do?
So security analysts are really good at identifying potential risks.
Okay.
So that could be a weakness in a software program.
Okay.
It could be a vulnerability in a network configuration.
Good.
So they're really thinking about, okay, what are the ways that someone could potentially get into this system?
Right.
And how can we prevent that?
So very proactive.
Very proactive.
Strategic thinking.
Exactly. They're developing strategies and plans to address those risks.
Okay. So we've got our strategic thinkers.
Yes.
Where do the security engineers come into this?
So the security engineers take those plans and they put them into action.
Okay.
So they're the ones implementing firewalls,
Which act as?
which act as those digital gatekeepers, right?
Yeah.
Controlling network traffic. They're setting up intrusion detection systems
Okay.
that are constantly monitoring for suspicious activity.
Gotcha.
And they're deploying things like SIEM, security information, and event management system.
Okay, hold on. SIEMs.
Yes.
Break that down for me.
all right.
What is a SIEM?
So a SIEM is basically like the central nervous system for cybersecurity.
Okay.
It collects and analyzes security data from all sorts of different sources.
Okay.
So your firewalls, your servers, your antivirus software,
Got it.
and it looks for patterns that might indicate an attack.
Okay.
This gives analysts a much clearer picture of what's happening across the entire network.
So you can see all the things in one place.
Flag.
One centralized platform.
So then you can see if something looks a little funky.
Exactly. You can spot those red flags much more easily.
Gotcha. So it's like a bird's eye view
Exactly.
of your digital landscape.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
So that kind of leads us into the next troop,
Okay.
which is the investigators.
Why investigators?
Because inevitably, even with the best defenses in place, someone's going to find a way in.
Sometimes those attacks, they slip through the cracks.
Of course, because the bad guys are always...
They're always trying to find a way in.
They are.
They're evolving just as quickly as we are.
Yeah, so when that happens, when something slips through the cracks, who gets the call at 3 a.m.?
Who do you think?
I have a feeling I know.
Yeah.
It's the digital forensics examiners and incident responders.
Exact.
They're the ones that get to come in when everything's on fire.
Yeah, it's like a digital crime scene.
Okay, so let's say, for example, a company discovers they've been hit with,
Uh-oh.
and forgive me if I'm getting ahead of myself,
Yeah.
but I think this is where we start talking about ransomware, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Ransomware is huge right now.
It's terrifying.
It's a big problem.
So for anybody who's maybe living under a rock,
Yeah.
what is ransomware?
So ransomware is a type of malicious software
Okay.
that encrypts a victim's files.
Okay, so you can't get to them.
Exactly. It makes them inaccessible.
Okay.
And then it demands a ransom.
And they will.
Usually in cryptocurrency.
Yes, of course they do, because it's untraceable.
Right.
So they're holding your data hostage, essentially.
Yeah, it's digital extortion.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do the digital forensics examiners come into this?
So the digital forensics examiners, they're the ones who swoop in after a ransomware attack or really any kind of cyber attack and try to figure out what happened.
Okay.
So they're analyzing log files, looking for clues.
Like fingerprints.
Exactly. They're trying to figure out, okay, how did the attacker get in? What data did they access?
So they are literally digital detectives.
They are.
Piecing together the evidence.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so we've got our digital forensics examiners.
Yep.
And then you said incident responders as well.
Right.
So what are they doing? What's their role? So we left off with a ransomware attack.
Yeah.
Chaos panic.
Yeah.
The whole 9 yards.
Okay.
What is the first thing that an incident responder does in that situation?
So it's all about containment.
Okay.
Remember the kill chain we talked about earlier?
Refresh my memory. It's been a minute.
Yeah, so the kill chain, it basically breaks down a cyber attack into stages.
Okay.
So you have that reconnaissance phase where they're gathering information.
Okay.
Initial access where they first get a foothold in the network.
Gotcha.
Gaining a foothold, moving laterally through the network.
Yep.
And then finally achieving their objective.
And in the case of ransomware, that objective is?
Encrypting your data.
Gotcha. So it's like a domino effect.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the incident responders come in.
Yep.
And they try to break that chain as quickly as possible.
Well.
So they might isolate infected systems.
Okay.
They might block malicious traffic.
Gotcha.
Basically try to stop the bleeding before any more damage can be done.
Yeah, you got to stop it from spreading.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So this is a very high pressure role.
It is very high pressure.
You have to think on your feet.
Yeah, you got to be cool under pressure.
What kind of skills, I guess, would you say are like essential for an incident responder to have?
So yeah, definitely cool under pressure.
Yeah.
Excellent problem solving skills.
Yeah.
Being able to think on your feet, like you said.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a deep understanding of networking and security concepts.
Yeah, because if you don't know how it's spreading, you can't really contain it.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so that makes sense.
So that's incident response.
So we've got the folks building the defenses.
Yeah.
We've got the ones responding to the incidents.
Right.
And now we get to talk about the ethical hackers.
This is my favorite part.
This is where it gets really fun.
Yes.
So remind everybody who falls under this umbrella.
So we're talking penetration testers.
Okay.
Red teamers.
Yep.
And malware analysts.
Okay, so these are the folks that are using...
The dark guards.
They're using their powers for good.
For good.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so they're trying to find those vulnerabilities before...
The bad guys.
The bad guys can...
Cool. Okay, so it's like they're playing offense instead of defense.
Exactly.
Okay, let's start with penetration testers.
Yeah, right.
Because I feel like that's the one everybody's like, ooh, penetration tester.
I know, it sounds cool, right?
It does sound cool.
It is pretty cool.
So what does a typical day look like for a penetration tester?
So think of it like this.
Okay.
A company hires a penetration tester to basically try to break into their systems.
Okay.
Just like a real attacker would.
Gotcha.
They're going to use a combination of automated tools
Okay.
and manual techniques
Gotcha.
to probe for weaknesses.
So like rattling all the doors and windows, seeing if any of them are unlocked?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're going to be looking for vulnerabilities in web applications,
Okay.
network configurations,
Yep.
even physical security.
Okay, so it's not just the digital stuff.
It's not just the digital stuff.
It's like, can they physically get into the building?
Exactly. Can they tailgate an employee?
Yeah.
Can they get into the server room?
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so once they find a vulnerability,
Yeah.
then what?
That's where the real value comes in.
Okay.
A good penetration tester won't just say, hey, you've got a problem.
Right.
They're going to provide a detailed report
Okay.
outlining the vulnerabilities they found,
Okay.
how severe those vulnerabilities are,
Okay.
and most importantly, how to fix them.
So it's not just about finding the holes, it's about patching the holes.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, so we've got our penetration testers out there
Yeah.
doing their thing.
Yeah.
How do red teamers differ from that?
So red teamers take this concept a step further.
Okay.
They're not just looking for any vulnerability.
Yeah.
They're trying to simulate a very specific attack scenario.
Oh, so it's more targeted. Much more targeted. Okay, give me an example.
So let's say a company wants to test their defenses against like a nation-state sponsored hacking group.
Okay.
The red team will study that group's tactics,
Oh, wow.
their preferred tools,
Okay.
even their motivations.
So they really get inside the mind of
It's
things.
exactly that. It's fascinating work.
That's so cool.
It is really interesting.
So they're trying to think like the bad guy, but for good.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so it's like a whole simulation then.
It's a whole simulation, and by doing that,
Okay.
they can give organizations a much more realistic assessment of their security posture.
Gotcha. So it's not just like, oh, here's a general vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is how this specific group might try to get you.
Exactly.
And here's what you can do to prevent that.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've got the folks building the defenses.
Yes.
We've got the ones responding to incidents. We've got the ethical hackers probing for those weaknesses.
Yes.
It's like a constant back and forth.
It is.
Almost like an arms race in a way.
Totally. It's constantly evolving.
Okay, so that brings us, I believe, to our last role.
Yes.
Which is malware analyst.
Malware analyst.
As you can imagine.
Big job.
Yeah, because malware is...
constantly evolving.
Yeah, they're busy.
They're very busy.
Okay, so tell me about what they do.
So often it starts with a suspicious file.
Okay.
Could be an email attachment, a downloaded program, anything that seems out of place.
Okay.
The malware analyst is going to use specialized tools to analyze that file's code.
Okay.
Looking for patterns and behaviors that indicate malicious intent.
So is that like when my computer does a virus scan?
It can start with something like that,
Okay.
but it goes much deeper than that.
Okay.
They'll often have to reverse engineer the code.
And reverse engineering the code means?
So reverse engineering is basically like taking apart a clock to figure out how it works.
Gotcha. So they're like going into the nuts and bolts
It's
of it,
exactly.
figuring out how it functions.
Exactly. And they're trying to understand the attacker's mindset.
Oh, that's so interesting.
What does this malware do?
Okay.
How does it spread?
Yeah.
What information is it trying to steal?
So they really do have to think like the bad guy.
Yeah. You have to put yourself in their shoes.
To figure out how to stop them.
Exactly.
That's wild. Okay, so once they have figured out...
reverse engineered,
cracked the code, so to speak.
Yes.
What do they do with that information?
So they'll document their findings.
Yep.
They'll create detailed reports that can help other security professionals understand the threat and develop countermeasures.
So again, a lot of collaboration in this field.
Tons of collaboration.
Everybody's working together.
It's team effort.
To stay ahead of
the bad guys.
The bad guys. I love it.
So a lot.
That's a lot we covered.
We did.
I feel like we covered a lot.
A lot of ground.
Yeah. A lot of ground, from building the secure systems to like literally trying to outsmart the cyber criminals. But I know there are people out there who are thinking, okay, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
But how do I actually do this?
How do I get into this field?
Yes. How do I get one of those 3.5 million jobs?
Right. That's the $1 million question.
Literally.
Or $3.5 million question.
There we go.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give for someone out there who's listening and like intrigued?
Yeah.
But doesn't really know where to begin?
Yeah. So I'd say first and foremost, identify what truly interests you about cybersecurity.
Okay.
Is it the thrill of ethical hacking?
Okay.
Is it the meticulous analysis of malware?
Okay.
Is it the strategic thinking of a security analyst?
Because those are very different.
They're very different skill sets.
Yeah.
You're not going to approach learning the same way for all of those.
Exactly.
Okay.
So figure out what you like.
Figure out what you like.
And then
there are resources.
There are tons of resources out there.
Okay.
We've mentioned TryHackMe.
We have.
They have those structured learning paths.
Yes.
They're like roadmaps.
Yes.
For specific cybersecurity roles.
Yeah. So like if you want to be a penetration tester.
Yep.
They have a path for that.
Totally.
If you want to do security analysis.
There's a path for that.
They have a path for it.
Yeah.
You can figure out where you kind of fit into that world.
Exactly. Find your niche.
Okay.
And the cool thing is a lot of these platforms, they're not just like dry textbooks anymore.
Okay.
They gamify the learning process.
Ooh, gamification.
Yeah, it's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Like what?
So think like virtual labs where you can practice your hacking skills in a safe environment.
Oh, that's great.
Or capture the flag competitions where you have to solve these security challenges to earn points.
So you're putting those skills into practice.
Exactly. You're getting hands-on experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got gamification. We've got these learning paths.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What other advice would you give?
Network.
Talk to people.
Talk to people.
Okay.
Join online communities. Attend webinars.
Yeah.
Connect with people who are already working in cybersecurity.
Because those connections can be so invaluable.
Absolutely.
So not even just for learning, but like
for jobs.
Finding out about jobs. Yeah.
Finding out about opportunities.
Getting your foot in the door.
Mentorship. all of that.
Yeah. It's building a community.
It is.
That's awesome. Okay. So,
And then my last piece of advice would be,
yes.
be prepared to be a lifelong learner.
Oh, yeah. This is not a
Cybersecurity is constantly evolving.
learn it once and you're done. Kinda.
It changes every single day.
Exactly.
Right?
That's part of the excitement, though, right?
It is. It's exciting.
There's always something new to discover.
Absolutely.
I love that.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yes.
I want to leave our listeners with this thought.
Okay.
The future of cybersecurity depends on a diverse range of minds and perspectives. So no matter your background,
Okay.
your experience level, your unique skill set,
Yeah.
there's a place for you in this field.
I love that diversity of thought.
Yes.
Diversity of experience.
It makes us stronger.
That's how we build a strong digital world.
Absolutely.
I love that. So for anyone listening out there who is feeling that little spark,
Yeah.
dive in.
Go for it.
Explore those resources.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to reach out to people.
Reach out to folks who are already doing it.
Exactly.
And ask questions.
You never know where it might lead.
You never know.
I love that. Well, this has been so fascinating.
It's been fun.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us.
My pleasure.
And to all of our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.